My friends and my brothers and them, like, we just talking. And we had gunshots. I just have to keep pull out. But then he like stop me up. So now we see like what's going on. Like the shot got still go crazy. And so everybody calling me. They was saying he was good. Okay, I ain't gonna stress it. It's like I said it to like 7 in the morning. I ain't smell way back up. Just cousin called me. He gone. I'm like,
all this going on at the time, it's safe to say that no one was really looking out for the best interests of the black community in Chicago. It would later go on to be the GDs or Gangster Disciples. It starts in 1964 when a group of young men all met in the home of a man named Larry Hoover. Decided that they wanted to start their own crew and take over the block. After King David's death, it seemed like many members stopped respecting Larry Hoover's leadership, and ultimately leading members to disrespect the supreme gangster side.
King Von was a true black disciple to the bone. OBlock, 64th and King Drive, the heart of Chicago's wildest streets. His name carried weight, his loyalty ran deep, and everyone knew where he stood. But now, everything's been flipped upside down. Brand new footage just dropped showing his own mother, Tasha Bennett, surrounded by people believed to be gangster disciples, the same rivals Von stood against. The internet went into total shock, calling it the biggest betrayal of Von's legacy ever seen. Clips have exploded all over TikTok and Instagram. The videos show Tasha in clubs, dancing, smiling, and chilling with the alleged GD members. Pictures spreading like wildfire. Fans can't believe their eyes, and everyone's asking the same question. How could this happen? One viral X post from a My mixtape showed photos of Tasha rocking a tight brown bodysuit with flashy gold boots, captioned about her being ready to hit the club in her 50s. That single post blew up, over 11,000 likes and more than 2 million views. But here's the twist. Nobody was really talking about her outfit. The comments section went wild over who was standing beside her. Online detectives quickly pointed out the men around her, claiming they were gangster disciples based on their tattoos, hand signs, and known street ties. That's when rumors started flooding in, late 2025 going into early 2026, saying Tasha might be getting close to or even dating the GD member. Fans couldn't hold back their disbelief, repeating the same question everywhere. How can she be around GDs when her son died repping BD? The shock was unreal. To really understand why that question hit so hard, you gotta know who King Von truly was. Born Davon Daquan Bennett on August 9, 1994, King Von was more than just a rapper. He was a symbol of the black disciples' loyalty and identity. He came straight out of Chicago's South Side, from the legendary OBlock, a place named after O.D. Perry, a BD member who lost his life in the streets. Von's lyrics told the raw truth of gang life and rivalries, especially the long-standing beef between the BDs and the GDs.
Today, the housing authority is $30 million in debt. Building codes are not being enforced, and the elevators, when they work, are called the most dangerous form of public transportation in Chicago. The only structure is provided by the gangs, who mark their turf with spray paint and set up sniper posts in high-rise buildings.
The war between the BDs and GDs has been raging for decades. It's taken lives on both sides and torn entire neighborhoods apart. King Von's whole public image was wrapped up in that conflict. It was more than music, it was his reality. Then tragedy struck. On November 6, 2020, Von was shot and killed at just 26 years old during a chaotic shootout outside a nightclub in Atlanta, Georgia. He left behind 3 children, a powerful legacy in rap, and a mother now forced to carry his name under the harsh light of fame. That mother is Tasha Bennett. She raised Von in the rough streets of Chicago, saw him get locked up, and saw him come back stronger, turning his pain into success. She stood by his side when he signed with Lil Durk's label, Only the Family, and dropped hits like Crazy Story. She was there when he fought for his freedom in court, and his sister Kayla B once said, sitting in that courtroom, she knew her brother would walk free just by the way the witnesses were acting. But after everything, the death, the tributes, the posthumous albums, the internet was blindsided when footage surfaced of Tasha hanging around alleged GD members. No one asked for context, nobody waited for facts, the reactions hit instantly and went viral. In the middle of the chaos, Tasha spoke up, denying any romantic link to any GD member and making it clear that her personal life had nothing to do with street politics or gang beefs. Tasha says she was focused on healing, rebuilding, and simply living her life. But by then, the internet had already made up its mind. The footage was out, the opinions were flying, and suddenly, Tasha Bennett found herself right in the middle of a storm she never asked for. What most people didn't understand was why that video hit so hard. It wasn't just about who she was with, it was about what that moment represented. To grasp the full weight of it, you gotta understand the war behind it. A war that's been tearing through Chicago for over half a century. The conflict between the Black Disciples and the Gangster Disciples isn't some rap beef cooked up for clout. It's a generational battle, deep-rooted in Chicago's South Side. This war existed long before drill music even had a name. And it's through that history that everyone online is judging Tasha's every move. It all goes back to the 1960s, a time when Chicago was changing fast and not for the better. The city's industries were collapsing, factories shutting down, and steel jobs disappearing overnight. Black communities on the South Side who had come north during the Great Migration looking for opportunity were left struggling. Unemployment rose, segregation laws and restrictive housing covenants trapped families in broken neighborhoods, and survival became a daily fight. Out of that chaos, the seeds of Chicago's deadliest street war began to grow. Banks straight up refused to lend money in black neighborhoods because of redlining, leaving families trapped in poverty. Young black men, tired of being ignored, bullied, and left to struggle by a city that didn't care, started banding together, forming street crews just to protect themselves and their blocks. Survival turned into unity, and unity slowly turned into power. Out of those harsh streets rose a crew called the Disciples, later known as the Devil's Disciples. One of their youngest and most powerful leaders was a teenager named David Barksdale, better known as King David. His name would go down in Chicago history forever. King Von himself reportedly claimed to be King David's grandson, which gave his connection to the B legacy an even deeper meaning. That bloodline, real or symbolic, made Von's loyalty feel personal, like something that ran through his veins. Meanwhile, in 1964, across town, another group of young men gathered in Larry Hoover's home and formed their own crew, the Supreme Gangsters. That moment would mark the beginning of one of Chicago's longest and most violent rivalries.
J Hood speaks on King Von's mom getting with his homies.
King Von's mom came out and said that one of Von's close friends was trying to get with her.
You know, Von was a lady man. He was I wouldn't say a lady man, he was a whoremonger. Cause we ain't gonna call it a lady man and make it seem like it's something good. He was a whoremonger. Like we all be, cause we don't really know. I don't know too much about her, but who cares if somebody tried to hit you? Von was doing the same thing to everybody else. He would hit people, girls when they was locked up. What's the difference? That's even crazier, cause the nigga got to come home. And Von was doing it to everybody else. They'd tell you that part, but she probably didn't tell you that she went.
At first, the Supreme Gangsters and the Disciples weren't enemies at all. There was no blood between them, just two groups trying to survive the same harsh streets. But as David Barksdale's influence grew and his operation evolved into the powerful Black Disciple Nation, tensions started to rise. Boundaries blurred, pride took over, and soon the streets turned hot with rivalry. Then came one of the most surprising twists in Chicago street history. In 1969, both sides actually joined forces. They merged to create the Black Gangster Disciple Nation, led together by Larry Hoover and King David himself. For a brief moment, it seemed like unity had won, but that peace was fragile. The alliance lasted only 5 years until tragedy struck in September 1974 when Barksdale passed away from kidney failure, complications from an old gunshot wound that never healed. The love and loyalty that King David inspired ran so deep that not even Larry Hoover could hold it together. His followers were devoted, and when King David passed, his loyalists couldn't accept anyone else taking that crown. The streets split once again, and the Black Disciples were re-established as their own force. What came next was pure chaos. A full-blown civil war erupted. The BDs and GDs, who were once united under the same banner, turned into bitter enemies overnight. From that moment, the war never truly stopped. Through the 1980s crack era, the violence only intensified as both sides fought for control of Chicago's booming drug trade. The GDs allegedly pulled in nearly $100 million a year in cocaine profits, running massive operations from the Robert Taylor Homes and Cabrini Green housing projects. Meanwhile, The BDs built their empire from a base they called the Castle, a stronghold rumored to be bringing in around $300,000 every single day. The money was huge, but the cost was even bigger. Both sides started recruiting kids from the neighborhoods, turning them into soldiers before they were even grown. The violence became personal, endless, and unforgiving. Every hit sparked another. Every loss demanded revenge. And while the world watched news clips from a distance, Chicago residents were living that nightmare day after day. The level of violence inside Chicago's housing projects was absolutely unreal. In just one single year, Cabrini Green reported over 200 people shot or stabbed. That's nearly 8 violent crimes for every 100 residents. The chaos was non-stop, and right in the middle of all that bloodshed were the GDs and BDs, locked in a brutal fight for territory, drug money, and street respect. By the 1990s, the streets were so out of control that the feds decided to tear both organizations apart from the top down. Larry Hoover, who was already serving time, got slammed with new charges after investigators wiretapped a visitor's badge that his enforcers were using to receive direct orders from him inside prison. That move exposed how deep his influence still ran, even behind bars. Soon after, Hoover was transferred to a Supermax facility in Colorado, cutting off almost all his contact with the outside world. Meanwhile, the BD side took a major hit too. In 1998, one of their high-ranking members, Robert Allen, flipped after admitting to pushing more than 220 pounds of crack cocaine. His cooperation led to 21 new indictments against key BD figures, sending shockwaves through the organization.
My brother got correct, look, OBlock, 3rd, 64 bike. Everybody who want to go there because my brother, like, he the real go.
Then came another massive blow, the demolition of the Robert Taylor homes and other major housing projects in the early 2000s. Those teardowns didn't end the violence, they just scattered it. Former members from both the GDs and BDs were forced into new neighborhoods, spreading the conflict across the entire city and sparking fresh turf wars everywhere they went. As the old power structures collapsed, chaos took over. The big organizations that once ran entire neighborhoods broke down into smaller, more unpredictable street sets, crews claiming just one block at a time and beefing with whoever was on the next one over. Loyalty shifted fast, and old alliances didn't mean much anymore. That shift hit hard after the death of O.D. Perry. When O.D. was killed, OBlock rose up and became the most famous BD set in the country, its name echoing across the map. Chief Keef, Lil Durk, and later King Von all helped make OBlock legendary through their music and their stories from the streets. Right across from OBlock, rival GD sets like STL, Tookerville, and EBT on 63rd and Eberhard, each one locked in a deadly rivalry with OBlock. Right across from OBlock, rival G sets like STL, Tookerville, and EBT on 63rd and Eberhard, each one locked in a deadly rivalry with OBlock. Rappers like FBG Duck proudly rep those blocks, turning local wars into full-blown street legacies. And then came the drill music era. It changed everything. Suddenly, the violence and street politics of Chicago were being watched around the world like a live drama. DJ Academics broke it all down on his War in Chirac channel, while media outlets like Noisy's Welcome to Chirac series showed the music side of it. Fans across the globe were glued to it, following the beefs, the songs, and the tragedies like it was a TV show, except the pain was real and the deaths were real. This was the environment that raised a generation, including King Von himself. So when the internet saw Taisha Bennett in those viral videos and reacted with outrage, they weren't just reacting to a party clip, they were reacting to decades of blood, loyalty, and history that still runs deep in Chicago's streets. The BD and GD rivalry isn't just about blocks, it's written in the family lines, street corners, and graveyards. For King Von, that war wasn't background noise, it was the center of his world. His entire life revolved around it. King Von wasn't just watching the BGD conflict from the sidelines. He lived it, breathed it, and carried the weight of it in everything he did. That war didn't just shape his rep, it molded his music, his identity, and the direction his life would take, right up until the end. That's exactly why the sight of his mother near alleged GD members hit people so hard. For many fans, it felt like a personal betrayal against everything Von represented. To understand that reaction, you have to go back to where he came from. Parkway Gardens, the housing complex that younger BD members renamed OBlock after their fallen brother O.D. Perry. That block wasn't just a neighborhood, it was a battlefield. Between June 2011 and June 2014, that single stretch of land saw 19 shootings, earning it the infamous title of the most dangerous block in Chicago. Right across 63rd Street where the GD sets, STL, later renamed Tookerville after another lost member, and EBT on 64th and Eberhard, each one locked in a deadly rivalry with OBlock.
Video songs like, I got my papa to do this. If it ain't no video, I'm like this. Harbor, need this. Let him rest. Push down an extra thing.
Von's name started coming up in that war around 2014. At just 19 years old, he was allegedly tied to the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Kyra K.I. Barnes, a feared GD from the STL set, who herself was rumored to have multiple bodies to her name. That case and the legends that grew around it cemented King Von's image as one of the most notorious figures to ever come out of OBlock. According to Street Talk, the killing of O.D. Perry was one of the events that kicked off the OBlock legend, and King Von's name was tied to it early on. Police had questioned him as a person of interest, but because of conflicting witness statements, no charges were filed at the time. Years later, in 2021, unsealed Chicago police documents officially named Von as K.I.'s alleged killer, though no trial ever followed. His sister, Kayla B., addressed those reports publicly, but stayed firm. She wasn't confirming anything about what her brother did or didn't do. Kayla made one thing crystal clear. Her brother's name shouldn't be used as a dumping ground for every unsolved case in Chicago. As the drill rap scene exploded, the feud between the BDs and GDs hit a whole new level. King Von and FBG Duck, representing the Tookerville side, started going back and forth in public, each one taking shots through music and social media. When Duck dropped his 2020 track, Dead Niggas, it sent shockwaves through the city. The song openly mocked fallen OBlock members by name, crossing a line that couldn't be undone. According to FBI reports and court documents, King Von allegedly responded by putting money on Duck's head, starting at $50,000 and later raising it to $100,000. The streets were talking, tensions were boiling, and everyone could feel that something explosive was coming next. On August 4th, 2020, FBG Duck was ambushed and killed in Chicago's upscale Gold Coast neighborhood, a hit that shocked the city and the entire drill scene. It was the kind of brazen attack that proved just how deep and dangerous the BD-GD feud still ran. Years later, in January 2024, 6 OBlock members were convicted on federal racketeering charges connected to Duck's murder, officially tying the streets to the courtroom. But the story didn't end there, because just 3 months after Duck's death, tragedy struck again. King Von was gone. He was shot and killed in Atlanta during a violent altercation involving rapper Quando Rondo's crew. The shooter, Timothy Leaks, was later identified as the one who fired the fatal shots. In August 2023, prosecutors dropped all charges against Leaks under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law, ruling that he acted in self-defense. Von's sister, Kayla B., was actually in the parking lot that night. She didn't witness the exact moment her brother was shot, but she heard the gunfire that changed everything. What followed was chaos, heartbreak, and a string of phone calls that shattered her world piece by piece. Once the shock faded, Kayla started reaching out, trying to make sense of a loss that words couldn't even begin to explain. Kayla called her brother first, desperate for him to pick up, but there was no answer. Panic started setting in. Then she called her cousin, Bonnie, who finally answered the phone. Bonnie told her that Von had been shot, but tried to calm her down, saying he was okay, that it was only one time. That brief moment of hope was crushed hours later when the truth came out.
Well, you pull out and you shoot 4 times.
Yeah, the gun jammed.
Oh, the gun jammed?
Yeah.
After the 4th shot?
Probably like the 3rd shot.
Okay. What parts of the body?
I get shot in my right hip bone and I get shot on my ass. I go in and out though.
Okay, so this is now the 2nd time you've gotten.
That moment, that heartbreak is the real pain sitting behind every conversation about King Von's legacy. Fans might discuss the BD-GD war through music, memes, or online debates, but for Von's family, it's not a story. It's a wound that never closes. While people online trade theories and reactions, Taisha Bennett and Kayla B live with 7 a.m. phone calls that tear their hearts apart. Calls telling them their son and brother is gone. This is the reality that Taisha Bennett wakes up to every day. Her son wasn't just a rapper. He was caught in a war that swallowed friends, rivals, and in the end, him too. So when that viral footage of her surfaced online, every comment, every judgment came weighed down with that history. A history written in caskets, police files, and broken families. Taisha Bennett isn't just a headline. She's a mother trying to survive in public while carrying a loss the world can't stop watching. Taisha Bennett never asked to be in the spotlight. Fame wasn't her choice. It was her son's rise and tragic death that forced her into it. Since then, she's faced the world with a mix of pain, strength, and defiance, refusing to let public judgment define her. To really understand her beyond that viral footage, you have to see the woman behind the headlines, the mother who raised King Von in one of the toughest neighborhoods in America. Von's father, Walter E. Bennett, known on the streets as Silk, spent most of Von's childhood in and out of jail. When Von was just 11 years old, his father was killed. Another name added to Chicago's long list of lost men. In a raw, documentary-style interview shared on TikTok, Taisha opened up about that heartbreak and what it meant for her oldest son. "I was upset, angry, disappointed," she said. "It's a whole lot of different emotions because it's my first child's father, and he don't get to see him grow up." Her words carried the kind of pain only a mother could know. The absence of a father figure in Von's life became a heavy burden she carried for years, and it was one of the forces to shape Von's path toward the streets. Still, when his music career finally started blowing up, Taisha was there, cheering him on every step of the way. But behind this support, she reportedly struggled with his lifestyle, loving his success, yet fearing the danger that came with his ties to the street world that had already taken so much from their family. There was once a viral video of Taisha Bennett confronting her own son, face to face about his gang ties, pleading with him to walk away from the life that would one day take him from her. It was raw, emotional, and painfully real. You could feel the fear of a mother who saw what was coming long before the world did. Von's sister, Kayla B., later spoke about how complicated their family dynamics were. In her own interview, she mentioned the generational tensions between them. Taisha trying to protect her kids from the same cycle that had already claimed so many others, while Von lived fast, chasing his music dreams and the street respect that came with him.
You seen it? You seen his mama? You seen how bad his mama is? I wonder how many his mama got killed. Going over there trying to put on King Von mama. I heard her name in Chicago is Death Trap. Could you imagine you meeting her and she be like, "Yeah, I stay at 3642 South End." And you pull up and King Von and all these young murderers is on the porch. Keep dropping. She be like, "I thought you was coming by." Man, I gotta call my mama. I think she stuck on the toilet with bad.
After Von's death, Taisha's public role grew even larger. She became the voice behind parts of his legacy, pushing back on rumors, managing tributes, and keeping his name alive. On the 3rd anniversary of Von's passing, she posted a message on his official Instagram that broke hearts everywhere. "We all miss you, but we're grateful for the memories and music you left us with. You really left a huge impact on all our lives." In a more recent interview, when asked what she missed most about her son, her answer wasn't about fame, money, or his music. It was something far more personal. She said softly, "His smile, when he tilted his head, when he gave me a kiss and said, 'I love you, Ma.'" The pain in her voice said everything. Yet even through all that heartbreak, Taisha refused to let grief define her entire existence. She's still here, standing strong, determined to live her life while carrying the weight of her son's story. Taisha Bennett stayed active on social media, showing the world her confidence, her style, and her life beyond tragedy. She posted pictures of her bold outfits, nights out, and travels, living life loudly and unapologetically. Her fearless fashion sense and youthful energy often sent her viral, earning praise from fans who loved her confidence, but also drawing criticism from people who said she was too old to dress like that. When trolls came for her online, Taisha didn't back down. She clapped back with her signature attitude, saying, "Law, it's just shorts and a body." That moment alone sparked thousands of comments, showing she wasn't about to let strangers tell her how to live. Then, when an AI-generated photo started circulating, supposedly showing her standing at King Von's gravesite, she shut that rumor down immediately. "This is not real, and I don't think it's funny," she said, setting the record straight once again. But just when things started to settle, the internet lit up again, this time over the so-called GD footage. In late 2025 and early 2026, rumors started swirling that Tayshia was dating or hanging out with someone tied to the Gangster Disciples. Photos and clips surfaced online showing her in social settings with people that viewers claimed were GD affiliated. That was all it took. The internet did what it always does. It twisted a complex, layered woman into a single story, stripping away all her depth and turning her into a headline once again. The internet left no middle ground for Tayshia Bennett. People painted her as either a traitor to Von's memory or a free woman just living her life. There was no space for understanding, no gray area, just judgment. Tayshia finally stepped forward to address the rumors herself, calling them pure misinformation. She made it clear that she wasn't dating any GD member and that she refused to let gang politics or anyone online control her personal life. Even though those same politics once shaped her son's world, she was determined not to let them define hers. What most people forget is the deep irony here, because King Von, for all his tough image, was also known for his big heart. Behind the lyrics, behind the headlines, there was a man who loved his people fiercely. Kayla B has spoken often about that side of her brother, the side that didn't make it into the songs or the rumors. She said Von took care of everybody. Once the money started flowing, he made sure his crew, his family, and even his friends were good.
Kind of stuck in her ways. A lot of people say we act alike, so maybe that's the reason. Like, she still want to be young. So, like, she's stubborn too. Like, in her way, she's stubborn. Like, I feel like as a mother, you shouldn't be like that with your kids.
Situations that we don't even know about that he helped people.
Yeah, his guys, that nigga, he loved come up. Most of them call him, like, so they happening for Von, like, they was excited. They was happy as hell because they know Von gonna make sure everybody's straight.
His homies looked up to him so much, they called him Pops, even though he was only in his mid-20s. That nickname said it all. It showed the respect and love he inspired in the people closest to him. Von made sure Kayla was secure, his mom was comfortable, and his kids and their mothers were taken care of. One photo said it best, a candid shot Von once took of Kayla when she wasn't even looking. It captured the love, the bond, and the quiet moments that showed who he really was beneath all the noise. Von once told Kayla he was gonna make sure she had everything she ever wanted, and he meant it. That's who he was at his core, a protector, a provider, and a man who took care of his people no matter what. That's the son Tayshia Bennett raised. That's the son she lost. And now, the same internet that praises King Von's street legacy and blasts his music every day is the same one trying to tell his mother how she should grieve, who she can stand next to, and how she's supposed to live. The truth is, the footage of Tayshia with alleged Gangster Disciples didn't go viral because of what it actually showed. It blew up because of what people projected onto it. That short clip sat right at the crossroads of gang loyalty, grief, gender roles, and the way hip-hop culture turns real-life tragedy into online content. Everyone saw what they wanted to see. Some saw betrayal. Others saw a woman just trying to enjoy her life after years of pain. The first layer of it all comes down to loyalty. In Chicago's drill world, affiliation runs deep, is treated like blood, something permanent and passed down through generations. King Von built his entire image on being a proud black disciple from OBlock. Every lyric, every interview, every story tied back to that loyalty. His music celebrated it. His rivalries, especially with FBG Duck and the GD sets across 63rd, reflected it, and that loyalty became his legacy. So, when fans saw his mother standing near people linked to the other side, they didn't see a casual moment. They saw a clash between love, loss, and the codes that built his son's world. Many fans treated that viral footage as a straight-up betrayal, a posthumous violation of everything King Von stood for. But that reaction says a lot more about us than it does about Tayshia Bennett. It exposes something uncomfortable about how fans consume this world. They treat the GD war like it's a TV show. people listen to drill music, follow the feuds, track body counts, and argue over block names like it's all just entertainment, while forgetting that real people are dying behind those lyrics. Tasha Bennett isn't a gang member. She's a mother who lost her child to street violence. Yet, somehow, the internet expects her to live by the same gang codes that cost her son his life. The idea that she has to respect BDG boundaries forever, even in her private relationships, shows how deep this culture runs in people's minds. It's like fans want her trapped inside Von's legacy, unable to move forward or even breathe without being judged.
Calm. So it's like this time I knew, like, do the same thing, like stay calm and just make sure I get to the hospital. So neither one, if he was gone or still alive, I just, like I say, I didn't even know it was him. I didn't even know if he was dead or alive.
The second layer to all this is gender and age. Every time Tasha goes viral, the criticism always circles back to how she looks, dresses, or carries herself. When she posts photos in tight outfits, people flood the comments telling her to act her age. When she's seen dancing or clubbing, others question her priorities, like grief has an expiration date. And when that infamous twerking clip hit millions of views, the internet didn't see a woman trying to reclaim joy. They saw something to pick apart, turning her existence into a debate instead of a life. King Von's death didn't end the violence. It lit a fuse that's still burning. What happened after his murder shows just how deep this cycle runs. According to federal prosecutors, after Von was killed, his mentor and label boss, Lil Durk, allegedly put a bounty on rapper Quando Rondo, setting off what they called a murder-for-hire plot. On August 19, 2022, gunmen reportedly hired by Durk opened fire on Rondo near the Beverly Center Mall in Los Angeles while he was at a gas station. Rondo survived the ambush, but tragedy struck again. His cousin, Savvy Lupab Robinson, was killed in the crossfire. Prosecutors claim Durk promised the shooters both cash and music industry opportunities as payment, with funds from his label OTF allegedly covering the travel, logistics, and setup for the attack. Then, in October 2024, things escalated when Durk was arrested near Miami International Airport, allegedly while trying to flee the country. He was hit with serious federal charges, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and wasn't the only one facing heat. 5 alleged OTF associates, Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston were also indicted on multiple counts, including murder for hire resulting in death. The streets called it karma, the feds called it justice. But either way, it showed one thing clear as day. King Von's death set off a chain of revenge that kept claiming lives long after he was gone. As of early 2026, Lil Durk remains behind bars awaiting trial after pleading not guilty to the federal charges. But the legal fallout didn't stop there. It only spread wider. FBG Duck's mother filed a massive wrongful death lawsuit against Lil Durk's estate, OTF, and Sony Music, claiming they operated as a criminal enterprise that fueled and profited from the violence dominating Chicago's drill scene. The suit accuses major record labels of knowingly pushing music that glorified deadly rivalries between BD and GD artists, turning real-life street warfare into a marketing strategy for streams and sales. Meanwhile, Lil Tim, the man who pulled the trigger that killed King Von, remains free. He's been building his own music career and speaking openly about that night in interviews, describing how the shooting changed his body and his entire life. The irony is haunting. The man who ended Von's life is using that tragedy as a launchpad for his own fame. The machine never stops. The same cycle that took Von's life keeps spinning, producing new casualties, new headlines, new content. Von's death rippled through the world, leading to federal indictments, multi-million-dollar lawsuits, and even a retaliatory killing in Los Angeles. And with every arrest, drop charge, or viral clip, the internet feeds on it, turning trauma into entertainment. And through all of that chaos, there was Tasha Bennett, just a mother trying to dance, laugh, and breathe again. One night out, one photo in the wrong crowd, and suddenly the world acted like she committed a crime.
What do you miss most about Von?
His smile, or he tilted his head, him giving me a kiss. I love you, Ma. Love you, Ma. calling me, aggravating me about the baby mom.
Some people looked at Tasha Bennett and saw strength, a woman refusing to let grief swallow her whole, someone still living despite everything she's lost. Others saw it differently. Critics called her disrespectful, asking how she could stand next to people from the same side that went against everything her son represented. The internet, as always, turned pain into a circus. Memes flooded timelines. TikTok edits mixed clips of her dancing with King Von's songs. And suddenly, her night out became a public debate about loyalty and loss. But here's the truth. That viral footage didn't expose a betrayal by Tasha Bennett. It exposed us. It showed how impossible the expectations are for families left behind after street violence. The world expects mothers like her to grieve a certain way, to follow rules they never agreed to, for a war they never started, in a city that abandoned the very neighborhoods where all this began. The BDGD conflict has now lasted over 50 years. It began with displaced young men trying to protect themselves on Chicago's South Side, just kids forced to form crews because the system failed them. Over time, those crews turned into powerful empires, battling for money, control, and survival. The fight moved through the crack era, through federal RICO cases, through the destruction of the housing projects that raised them, and eventually it evolved into drill music, where street war became one of the most consumed forms of entertainment in history. And even now, in 2026, that same war hasn't ended. It's just changed shape, living on through songs, headlines, and viral moments like Tasha's. Tasha Bennett's story ends with gratitude, not scandal. Thank you to everyone who has showed their outpouring of love for King Von. You all played a massive role in Von's accomplishments, and by continuing to play his music and share your stories about how he inspired you, you're keeping his legacy alive. Those words, written from a place of pain, weren't meant to spark more controversy. They were a plea for love, remembrance, and respect. She never asked fans to monitor her personal life, to judge who she stands beside, or to turn her grief into gossip. Yet the internet did what it always does. It twisted tragedy into trending content. The footage went viral, not because of what it showed, but because people needed it to mean something. For some, it was proof that loyalty dies with the person who lived it. For others, it was proof that the living have the right to keep living, even when the dead cannot. Tasha Bennett didn't owe anyone an explanation. Still, she spoke her truth, and the internet kept talking, never realizing that sometimes silence says more than any viral clip ever could. King Von's story isn't just about street wars or fame. It's about legacy, loss, and love that refuses to fade. His music still echoes through the city that made him and through the hearts of those who still play his songs every day. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep King Von's story and legacy alive.